Hey Scorpios, and welcome to your 2019 year ahead forecast. This is Sky here to bring you some channeled insights, astrological messages, and tarot views into this incredible and impeccable year of 2019. How bright and stunning you are coming into this year. It's going to be a lot better, a lot easier potentially, and a lot funner, I think, if we're going to use that word. It can be a very fun year for Scorpio and a very, hassle-free experience if you let it be. I'm happy that you all are here and listening. I'm happy that you made it through 2018. That was a trial for a lot of you, I know. Jupiter was in your sign, and we had a lot of retrogrades in your sign with Venus and Mercury and Jupiter, and it was a challenge, I know, for a lot of you. A lot of you saw really great highs, really stark lows, and everything in between. And what does that leave for 2019? Okay, that's why I'm here. That's why we're here, and we're going to get all into it. If you guys haven't had the opportunity yet to subscribe to my channel, I so hope you'll do it. If you're new to my channel, I do monthly tarot forecasts, I do transit videos, and I do pretty much anything that hits me. Be sure to subscribe if you would like to. The February readings, as well as all the other monthly readings, will be coming up soon, so hit that bell button to get notified when that happens. And if you enjoy it, you can check out my Patreon page. I have my 2019 Year Ahead Meta Companion on there just by virtue of having a subscription. So check that out if you get the opportunity. That link's in the description box below. Anyway, Scorpio, things, as I was saying, can get really easy in 2019. That's really the first thing that I'm feeling. It does feel to be a sigh of relief and overall an exhale, especially in the first part of 2019, especially resulting in the demons that you've faced and some of the difficulties that you've overcome. I know that there were so many trials and tribulations in the year of 2018 for you. And for the last 5-year period, if we're talking in this annual capacity, ever since 2014-ish, depending on where your Scorpio stuff is, when that Saturn retrograde happened in your sign, you've really been hit hard by a lot of transits. Nearly every planet has retrograded in your sign. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Mercury, they've all retrograded in Scorpio since that period of time. Of course, we haven't had the outer planets like Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto because they moved too slowly to have done that by then. But especially if you're a Scorpio Sagittarius cusp person, you have had a multitude of extreme retrogrades on your Scorpio placements, and you would have seen, regardless of what degree your Scorpio stuff is at, that all of the decisions in your life and all of the people in your life, all of these strong components of your life were questioned. And starting in about 2014, you wouldn't have seen much slack being cut for those questions or for the insufficiencies that those questions highlighted. You wouldn't have seen much slack for it. You would have seen a lot of attention pulled into the slightest insufficiencies, and the smallest imbalances could have been extreme in their showcasing of such imbalances. So the smallest health problems could send something so out of whack that it creates this cataclysmic illness in your life. You could have seen that these smallest disagreements in a relationship end in divorce, or these smallest things that build and snowball into really overarching looming experiences that had to be resolved in 2018. And you would have seen also a lot of luck and expansion in that resolution, but the hard part of it was, in order to have that resolution, you had to have complete view and complete understanding of what was at stake. So yes, a lot of things boiled over, a lot of things fell out, and a lot of things also could have potentially generated that felt like new snowball experiences. So how do you come out of that type of cycle in 2019, as you will see that you are a lot less aspected starting now? Really, the first thing that I feel Scorpio has to do is to get clear on their blessings and what they have to work with right now. Can you just breathe a little bit better, as you're watching this video, than you have in a while? Is there something about the way your body is working or the food that you're eating that is just a little bit better? There is, for all Scorpios, some semblance of silver lining, I feel, during this time, as you will see that the universe really supports you on account of how you have been activated. Because like I was saying, 2014 to 2018 for Scorpio, could have constituted multiple lifetimes worth of karmic injection, just with how much activation there was in your sign and how much retrograde activation, as well as some fixed star activation as well. So it's also important to come into 2019 knowing how much you have been activated and understanding how to rest and recover from that. So yes, rest and recovery, especially at the beginning of 2019, is very important for Scorpio. Don't overdo it. Don't overbook yourself. Don't over-involve yourself, because your energy to me feels overtrained. Like the image that I get is of an athlete who is very overtrained yet still keeps going and still keeps pushing really hard. And that can obviously result in illness or some type of physical health issue. And I do think that that's definitely possible for Scorpio if you haven't already had it. A lot of you had that starting in 2018, and you had a lot of things to face, and just, even if it wasn't necessarily anything you could put your finger on, I feel that all Scorpios had sort of an understanding of whoa, my body can't go through this. There's something about my environment and my choices right now are not supporting my body. And how Neptune has been trining your sun or your Scorpio stuff, it could have been quite foggy as to what's causing it. You're well, I have a great diet and I sleep well and all of my routines are great. What's wrong? A lot of it is psychosomatic and a lot of it is emotional. Our emotions and psychological structures have so much more to do with our physical health than modern science dictates. Truly, and our manifestation and channeling abilities, which stem from those emotional synapses, have so much to do with our physical health conditions. So, and that's where it hit you, Scorpio, especially, if you have your Scorpio stuff in a water house, 4, 8, or 12, or even house 10, house 2, an earth house, you would have seen that the emotional structures were so impacted over the last few years, and healing that right now is so important. Finding perhaps proper supplementation. Of course, don't blindly do that either. It's just, and maybe a lot of you did it over 2018, but it's so important to come into 2019 understanding what deficits and insufficiencies there are. Okay, are you deficient in something? Because in order to have the healing that you require right now, Scorpio, you've got to have a physical body that is apt to healing. If you're taking from yourself, if you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, you're making it about 50 times harder on yourself to heal. So, you can get all the mindsets going, you can get all of the quote unquote self-love principles going, and all of these esoteric, shadow work things going. But are you eating enough? Are you eating the right things? Are you sleeping enough? Are you resting your eyes? Are you on a screen for 9 hours a day? Are you breathing in something toxic? I feel like Scorpio's environment is so responsible, especially if you're a 4th house Scorpio, or, a 2nd house Scorpio, a 12th house Scorpio. What you're surrounded by and what you're putting yourself in, ultimately. It's not so much a passive thing as you think it is, especially, the older that you get. But what environment were you putting yourself in, and what environment can you put yourself in now? So important for Scorpio to understand the transformation that they've had, because no doubt there's been a lot of changes, and to understand the power that they have to dictate and choose their environment, and not do that from an ego-based place, just doing that from, a place of survival. Survival instincts were a huge component of 2018, and now moving into 2019, it's important to find those thriving instincts, not just those surviving instincts, but those thriving instincts, and to understand how to create that environment for yourself while not running over other people in the process, or not trying to control other people and trying to dictate other people and trying to force your surrounding environment to support you. It's more about placing yourself in an environment that is automatically supportive, if that's possible, which it is. I feel that it's possible for all Scorpios to find a supportive environment right now, or to create one themselves. Because also another huge thing about 2019 is the creative potential. I think that Jupiter in Sagittarius is an incredible creative impulse for Scorpio, because you've had that activation, that Jupiterian activation, just recently, as it was in your sign. So when it moves off and it sort of takes a bit of pressure off of the emotional side of Jupiter and Scorpio, you see that with Jupiter in Sag, that starts to channel out in a very creative, worldly way. So yes, I could see incredible promotion within your career. I could see finally realizing the creative project, finally doing the album, or finally doing the book, finally getting on the stage to perform to the world, especially if that's up in 9th or 10th house. It would be an incredible time to really start presenting yourself, after you fix the environment, after you heal a bit, present yourself and find even more healing through that. And one more intuitive message before we get too deep into the astrology messages. This is a year where some of the fears have to drop, okay? Some of the acquired fears, some of the cyclic acquired fear spectrums of the last few years have to be overcome as quickly as possible. Because you might have seen that you like work on this sort of odd cycle where you have like a few months that are kind of monotonous, then there's a month where things get tricky, and then there's like a month of like abject psychological terror, and then there's like a few months of like ease, and then there's like a month of like weirdness, and then like a month of psychological terror, and it just like goes over and over and over again. This cycle, Scorpio, it's imperative to channel this in a new way and find understanding about where it's actually coming from. And how incredible for those of you that were able to do that in 2018. That was really like the perfect environment for it, because you just would have seen like in that year that, anything that could potentially haunt you or taunt you would have, okay? So like, what were you most scared of during that year? What were you like always on the edge of your seat about? Or like, were you always scared that that person would do that thing to you, or scared that like you wouldn't be able to accomplish the diet or the work goals and all of the terror that would come on account of that, but it's like it didn't actually happen? Or there might have even been like a psychic sense, like, I know that this is going to happen, I know that this is happening, but it like wasn't actually real, and you realize that it just related back to the past. I hope that you were able to deal with that in 2018. If you didn't, you still have a few months in the beginning of 2019 to easily do that, actually. Till about March of 2019, it can be quite easy, surprisingly easy. And throughout the rest of the year, it can work as well. I just don't want you guys to be haunted by this sort of, unshakable sense of paranoia for some, but also just, for some of you, just surrounding yourselves with people that really aren't good enough for you, or being surrounded by people that it's not really that they're not good enough for you, it's that they just don't see you. They don't really see what you are. They sort of implement a vision of what they need onto you and then use that and then sort of generate what you deserve based on how well that process goes. It's sort of hard to explain, but now is definitely a time to simplify in the year of 2019, Scorpio. Again, there's a bit of time here to like really make things a lot more simple, to really not get so enveloped in another person or enveloped in like your career or your work to the extent that you lose your own sense of identity. Identity should be a much more solid thing after the year of 2018, and you're going to see a lot of incredible rewards for foraging that during that time. And another really incredible thing about 2019 for those of us Scorpios who are able to, come past the paranoia, able to stand firm in our known identity, and able to release from old spectrums and cycles of fear. One of the most incredible things is how simple things can be, how easy it can be to have happiness, how naturally like the environment supports you, like the perfect temperatures, the perfect, whether that be like, the perfect temperature outside, like while you're walking, it's like it's been cold for 2 weeks, but the one day that you go out or something, it's like the temperature warms up. Or like whether that be the temperature in a relationship, like you've had a lot of coldness in past relationships and all of a sudden you pull someone in who's like very, very warm. And I feel like it to be such a temperate year for you if you can just not be scared that it won't be. When Scorpio gets scared of something, it often tends to happen, and that can be a way of your psychic powers working, but it can also be a way of your manifesting powers working as well. You get really scared that you're ill with something, and then all of a sudden something's not right in your body, because fear, it generates all of those stress responses, which Scorpio's too delicate for the stress responses right now in any type of, constant way. At the same time, you can't necessarily just wrap yourself in bubble wrap, but really working on how you react stressfully to things is important for this year as well. Beefing that stress reaction up, making it stronger, not having a huge stress reaction to the smallest things, all super important. I hope that this reading doesn't sound too negative to you all, because it's not. Like, it's wonderful things. It's just after coming from a year like 2018, we kind of have to go over things so that they don't just, go unseen and then work in the background with no awareness. But yes, astrologically for Scorpio in the year of 2019, it's not as familiar a time as it has been in the past, I feel. Again, there's nothing that's really going to be in Scorpio until the inner planets come during your time of the year. No outer planets, no middle planets. Uranus is moving into Taurus, so especially for those of you Scorpios on the Libra-Scorpio cusp, you are going to be feeling a huge, huge burst of energy coming in. And also an optimistic edge, I feel, especially having Jupiter and Sag as well. I really think that, you know, the early degree Scorpios are going to have a complete revolution of their lives, extreme new experiences, incredible love affairs, you know, for those of you who are single or not, I don't know, completely new ways of generating income and finances, just a huge overhaul of your life. So that will be, I think, a very enjoyable thing. I've always noticed that Uranus contacts by harsh angle to the sun come with a lot of revitalization and come with a lot of regeneration. You know, it can feel a bit erratic and manic, but especially if you're older, like past the first Saturn return or even the second Saturn return preferably, so around the age of 60, a Uranus contact to the sun can be an extremely, extremely positive thing during older age. During younger age, it can be a bit too much energy. Because Uranus is such an extreme energizer. So for older people, it's really wonderful because, you know, the energy is lacking a bit more. But also for like an ill person, I feel like, who is younger, it could be a good healing transit, but it can be a bit too erratic and manic for people, especially before the first Saturn return. So if you're younger than 30, that could be a bit more of a difficult transit, like having quite unstable people around you perhaps, or just feeling like nothing is solid or stable or secure. But again, the older you are, the better that transit is. And to some degree, it's revitalizing for anyone. So that'll be incredible for those earlier degree Scorpios. You know, Saturn will be in Capricorn for all of this year. So I feel like that gives Scorpio a really good solid base to work from. And especially for like your work and career, it gives you a lot of good work ethic and a lot of good foundation to, you know, generate more finances as well as be a good taskmaster. I think that Scorpios can, similar to 2018, be really incredible taskmasters and get a lot done. Pluto is also in Capricorn, so again, that's that sextile angle to you. And Scorpio and Capricorn energy together can be a little bit gray zone and a little bit pessimistic, but I do feel that the Jupiter in Sagittarius really balances that out and gives you more optimism and spontaneity to work with as well. Really good balance between optimism and pragmatism, I feel, for Scorpio, like really assigning the proper reaction and the proper instinct towards each scenario. I think your instincts will be like on point, and I also think you'll be balancing them with good like foresight and insight as well, based on your instincts and seeing your instincts from those perspectives. I also think the transits of Mars will be very positive for you this year as well, especially if you're channeling your energy well. We do have like Mars starting out in Aries and then moving into Taurus, and it's on that side of the zodiac, which will, you know, mix with that Uranus energy as well as the Chiron energy. And it should just really give you a lot more energy to work with and a lot more, you know, just like blood. It feels like it really helps your blood and your you know, your energy sources within your body. So I feel that there's like a strong healing capability for anything that's out of whack. And I also think that there's just more desire and ambition in general. I mean, you could have seen a lot of that last year, but this year it's more of like coming from an outside source versus from specifically within. So I think that inspiring and healing things will just start happening to you throughout the year. So that will be really beautiful to see. And I also think that there will be just like a spike in you know, the need to exercise and the need to physically channel. So I feel like higher libido is definitely possible. So definitely work on channeling that in healthy ways, and also not feeling too repressive with that type of thing, because I feel like Mars, Uranus, Pluto, they're all hitting you in a variety of ways, but not really head on or directly, unless you're one of those Libra, Scorpio cusp people. So just look for new, intuitive, perceptive ways to channel any types of pent-up energy that you might experience. I think that they'll be there, and I think they'll be really enjoyable. New creative projects, new creative outlets seem numerous in this year for sure. Anyway, Scorpio, I'm going to go ahead and start shuffling the tarot cards, give you a little bit of ASMR here. Let's see. I'm getting, if you guys haven't seen from the other videos in this series, I'm just finding one significator card for your year to sort of show the direction that things are going and see how we can best work with the energy and get some insights on an overarching perspective. Okay, two jumping out. Okay, let's see. Six of Swords and also Two of Pentacles. So that makes really perfect sense, Scorpio. I like actually that they're both minor arcana. It was such a major arcana type of year for you last year, and I like that we're sort of working on the little things here that sort of build up to a really big expression and a big expansion that's been building for a really long time. So Six of Swords is a voyage. It's a big transition. It is actually my home card as a tarot reader, so it's really actually beautiful that that would be what comes up in the Scorpio reading. I'm getting chills, actually. It's incredible to see the voyages that may take place this year and the transitions. So I feel like moving is definitely possible. A change in your environment is super possible. And also connection with others and helping others. I feel you to be really helping others from a very genuine place, not feeling indebted to others or not feeling like you have to, but really being a guiding hand in a very positive way. I also feel you to be sailing to smoother waters, and I feel that it's going to be important to make sure your apparatus for voyaging or your apparatus for making changes is in better, or at least, passable condition for sure. And, just with Two of Pentacles also being here, the first thing that I look is at the background. You see the ships and the perilous waters. It's reminiscent also of Six of Swords, isn't it? It's really, really beautiful that these two came up. I'm really astounded by the connections that they have. And it also says to me that you are doing something right and synchronistic, despite these being difficult archetypes. I mean, they're not the easiest, they're not the hardest, but they're also not the easiest. They can be quite beautiful, though, in retrospect and hindsight. You will look back to 2019 with nostalgia and fortitude, I feel. You'll look back at this journey that you're taking here. It's definitely a journeying energy. And with Jupiter and Sag, that makes really a lot of sense that a lot of you might be taking a trip, traveling, globe-trotting for some of you. Finally breaking away from an emotional hazard, finally breaking away from an emotional trauma spectrum and traveling into smoother waters. And seeing what I also like about the Two of Pentacles is that despite there being perhaps not the easiest of choices on the line, the perilous waters are behind you. So that says to me that through Six of Swords, you have traveled to the shore and you make it, and you're faced with decisions based on that, but those perilous waters that you experienced before are behind you. You're not on the ship in Two of Pentacles. You're on the ship in Six of Swords, but you're not on the ship in Two of Pentacles. You've left that behind, and now you're on smooth ground, but you are nonetheless faced with decisions. So do remember that as you're navigating through this year, Scorpio, that decisions don't stop, choices don't stop, crossroads don't stop. It's just a matter of the footing that you have while you're making them. That's what changes this year, and that's the beautiful, incredible change that does happen. How 2019 brings the proper footing with which to make the choices you've needed to make for a long time. And it feels to do that through transition, through movement, through sailing to smoother waters and making the decision which supports you to actually heal and recover from those insufficiencies that may have generated over the last few years. Oh, and I'm almost forgetting, Scorpios. If you didn't see from the other videos, I was also channeling in 2 concepts for each sign, and the ones that I got for you were understanding that your peace is not determined by the perils of others, and allowing your mind, body, and spirit to instinctually release and heal from what no longer serves. So again, like release and understanding, the stress of other people is not your own, are going to be also intrinsically wrapped into this transition process and into this smoother ground process. So separating yourself from the stress of others, separating yourself from the past, which is burdening you, that you don't have control over anymore. Again, those are going to be very vital parts to healing in this year as well. Anyway, everyone, that feels like a natural spot for me to conclude this video. Be sure to watch your sun, moon, rising sign to get more insight on what you personally are going through. And if you would like to check out my 2019 Year Ahead Meta Companion, you can click the center of your screen now. I go month by month, giving a tarot card for each month, and I also just give some general healing strategies laid out in a document that's over 10 pages. It's really great. I so enjoyed the process of writing that, and again, click the center of your screen to find that and download that. I hope you'll get to check it out. Much love, Scorpios, and good luck in this really incredible year for you. We'll talk soon. Bye.